What's up everyone, we're going to be going through the best NBA player props on Prizepicks today. Now I did want to show you the results from yesterday's picks from my exclusive Discord group, and as you guys see, we actually got 21 picks correct, which was absolutely insane. Now a lot of you comment wanting to see how many I got wrong, and I thought I'd show you in today's video. We only got 2 picks wrong and got 21 right, which is a 92% win rate. Yes guys, you heard that right, 92% win rate. So we're on a huge hot streak, but if you want to get a 92% win rate and get 21 picks right like me, win more bets and we'll see the best picks from some of the best bettors in the world for less than a cup of coffee, you can access the exclusive Discord and meet some of the best sport bettors in the game by joining my Patreon, should be linked down below in the description. Once you join, you'll have complete access to the Discord and can start winning more bets today. So make sure you join my Patreon using the link in the description. And here's one of our members who just signed up and won himself $937 just yesterday, and another member who won $135 for the 6th day in a row since joining my Discord. So guys, if you want to win big money like our members, the link will be in the description, so go join the Patreon to have access to the Discord group, and I will be continuing to upload every single day on this channel the best bets and props, so make sure to subscribe so you don't miss my daily uploads. Also want to give a quick shout out to Tommy Weather Holt Y7E, who said, dude, this bet is crazy, are you able to see into the future or are you a madman? So shouts out to him, and if you do want to win a shout out in the next video, all you have to do is comment down below in this video and like it, and you can be in the running to win a shout out in the next one. Alright, so let's get straight into the first pick. And when it comes to these picks, I'm not saying to chuck all of them into a parlay and hope for the best. Pick and choose the ones that you like and the ones that work best for you. So the first pick we're talking about is Jaylen Green for 15.5 points, and this one actually is for less. Now looking at Jaylen Green, we've actually seen him go on the under in 4 out of the last 5 games. Now looking at those last 5 games, we do see on April 21st, or game 1, we actually saw him get 7 points against the Golden State Warriors. Then April 24th, faced off against the Warriors again on game 2 and had 38 points in that matchup. Game 3 on April 27th, he actually had 9 points there. Then in game 4, had 8 points on April 29th, and then 11 points in game 5 on May 1st. So we actually have seen Jaylen Green go on the under quite consistently, and he only had kind of one big game, which was that game where he did actually have 38 points, but we should actually see him go on the under in this one. Now obviously there is only one NBA game for today, which is Houston against the Warriors. This has definitely been a very exciting series for everyone, I do believe, and when it comes to this matchup between both of these teams, we do see the Houston Rockets, when it came to the Western Conference, we did see them come second with actually a record of 52-30. So 52 wins, 30 losses. They had a 63.4% win percentage, which was fantastic. And on top of that, they face off against the Golden State Warriors. Now, the Golden State Warriors are in a bit of an interesting situation because the Warriors do rank 7th in the Western Conference and had a record of 48-34. So they have a great record there. Now, obviously, looking at the Warriors so far, we actually have seen them do a fantastic job during this series, especially since they are the underdogs coming in it, and they did have a win percentage of 58.5. Now looking at actually the matchup between Houston and Golden State Warriors, we do see the Golden State Warriors, when it comes to points allowed, we do see the Warriors do rank 8th, so they rank very high when it comes to restricting points. But on top of that, they also do a fantastic job at restricting points to the shooting guard position, which is what Jaylen Green tends to play. Jaylen Green is definitely, a very inconsistent scorer, or he has been a very inconsistent scorer this series, and we definitely see that continuing on. He did have a big game in game 2 where he had 28 points, no doubt about it. However, when we look at actually Jaylen Green's, kind of consistency out there, it's definitely been more likely on the under. His average over the last 5 has actually been 14.6, so it is slightly below this line. However, a big reason why it's even that high is due to that 38-point game. We think that was an outlier game. The line is now a little bit too high, that there should be a lot more value to actually go on the under in this one. Now looking at Jaylen Green and the matchup against the Warriors, another big reason why we do like the under is due to the fact that when we look at Golden State Warriors coming into this next game, we have seen them actually do a great job at actually restricting Jaylen Green, and we definitely see that continuing on. Now, looking at Jaylen Green against the Warriors throughout the regular season, we pretty much saw a similar sort of outcome, because we actually saw in their first game against each other, which was on November 2nd, we saw him only have 7 points there. Then on the 5th of December, faced off against them and had 14 points in that matchup. And then next December 11th, we actually saw him have 12 points, which was interesting to see. And then on the 13th of February, also had 9 points. And then on the 6th of, the most recent month, which was April, we actually saw him have 21 points. So, even though they have played each other 5 games, in 4 out of those 5 games, he actually did go under on his line. So that's a big reason why we do very much like the under again for this situation here. We definitely see someone like Jaylen Green struggling, especially against a really tough defense like, the Golden State Warriors coming into this matchup. So we definitely see that working out in, the Warriors' favor, and we should see him going the under in this one. So for that reason, Jaylen Green, 15.5 points for less, I think is a fantastic pick. Now, getting into the next player, we're going to be talking about Brandon Podziemski. So as you all know, Brandon Podziemski, great player. And this one is a fantastic one for actually for 4 assists at that. And this one actually is for less. Now, looking at Brandon Podziemski, we've actually seen him go on the under in 3 out of the last 5 games. Now, it's definitely interesting to see due to the fact that when we look at the last 5 games, we do see something pretty interesting. We see that, on the April 21st or game 1, he actually had 5 assists there. Then April 24th against Houston in game 2 had 0 assists. Then 2 assists on game 3 on April 27th. And then on game 4, we actually saw him have 5 assists on April 29th. And then May 1, game 5 had 4 assists there. So it's definitely been an interesting sort of, I would say, stat line for Brandon Podziemski over the last 5 games. It's definitely been more on the under, as he has gone on the under in 3 out of the last 5, with one of them being a push. But they do face off against the Houston Rockets, as we all know, and his average over the last 5 is also 3.2, so significantly below the line there. Now, we do know Golden State Warriors faced off against Houston. Like we mentioned, this is the only game. Now, we do already know the standings, but just to refresh your memory, Rockets did rank 2nd with a 52-30 record, and then Warriors had a 7th Western Conference spot with a 48-34 record. So it was a very tight race for the actual Western Conference. Now, when we look at the matchup, Golden State Warriors and Houston, we do see Houston, when it comes to assists allowed, we see them actually rank 2nd. So they rank very high when it comes to restricting assists, and we definitely see that playing a huge part as Houston Rockets actually do a fantastic job at restricting assists to the guard position. So for that reason, we do very much like the under for this situation here, due to the fact that Houston, are a great defensive team. They have so many great defenders, whether it's Brooks, whether it's Thompson, even players like Fred VanVleet, Tari Eason also play great defense, and we definitely see that translating over into this next game. Now, Brandon Podziemski definitely has a decent usage rate, but in the assist department isn't really that high, so that's why we do see him going on the under in this situation here. Now, looking at Brandon Podziemski actually against Rockets throughout the regular season, we definitely have seen something pretty interesting, because we did see they faced off against each other on the 2nd of November, where he had 6 assists there. Then after that, actually faced off again against each other on the 5th of December and had 3 assists in that matchup. Then on the 11th of December, had 4 assists. After that, 13th of February, also had 4 assists, and then 4 assists again on the 6th of April. So we definitely have seen Brandon Podziemski, not really do too well in the assist department during these games. Now, obviously, out of the 5 games that they did play, 4 out of the 5 he did technically go on the under. Now, 3 of them were a push, but it definitely wasn't enough for him to go on the over. So, when it comes to Brandon Podziemski, he's always really struggled throughout the whole season against Houston's defense, and we should see that translate or be a similar situation coming into this next game, no doubt about it. Now, obviously, Podziemski is not only a fantastic player, but his role in this team has definitely decreased just a little bit, especially in the playmaking department, due to the fact that when it comes to their new addition of Jimmy Butler in the second half of the season, another big reason being for this is that it is the playoffs. When it comes playoff time, we tend to see stars kind of, get a little bit more usage rate out there, and role players tend to take a seat back. So we definitely do see that happening with Brandon Podziemski. There's so many stars in this team, whether it's Steph, whether it's Jimmy Butler or Draymond Green, The list really does go on. And not only am I saying that, you know, Brandon Podziemski is not important. He is definitely very, very important to this team. However, when it comes to his actual stats, it may take a suffer as other players may be getting a lot more of opportunities. And, you know, Brandon Podziemski is definitely, you know, one that is losing a bit of that opportunity due to their stars. So for that reason, definitely keep an eye out for the under for this one. So Brandon Podziemski, 4 assists, 4 less, I think is a fantastic pick. Now, getting into the next one, we're going to be talking about Dillon Brooks. So Dillon Brooks, as we all know, great player. And this one is actually a fantastic one because this is for 12.5 points. And this one actually is for less. Now, looking at Dillon Brooks, we've actually seen him go in the under in 2 out of the last 5 games. Now, obviously, the last 5 games have been against Warriors. So looking at the Warriors matchup, we do see game 1, April 21st, he had 11 points there. Then game 2 had 16 points on April 24th. Then game 3 had 13 points on April 27th. Game 4, 11 points on April 29th. And then 24 points in game 5 on May 1. So he's definitely done a fantastic job there. Now, when we look at actually the matchup between Dillon Brooks and Golden State Warriors, first we do see that Dillon Brooks does rank 15th when it comes to points allowed. So slightly above this average, but definitely not enough for us. Now, looking at the matchup, like we mentioned, Houston do rank pretty high. You know, when it came to the Western Conference, Warriors did come in at 7th. But a big thing to notice here is that due to the fact that, you know, he has definitely played that small forward position throughout the regular season, Golden State Warriors continue to do a fantastic job in that position. It definitely may be due to the fact that they did acquire Jimmy Butler midway through that season. But no matter the case that it may be, we still do very much think the under is possible for this situation here. Now, obviously, looking at both of these teams, Houston and Warriors, very tough competitors. Houston did rank a little bit higher than, you know, Warriors, and we definitely see Warriors coming into this with a underdog type story. Now, looking at Dillon Brooks actually against Golden State Warriors throughout the regular season, we definitely seen something very interesting due to the fact that the first time they played each other was November 2nd. He had 7 points there. Then on the 5th of December, had 15 points. Then on the 11th of December, had 9 points. After that, on the 13th of February, had 7 points. And then also on the 6th of April, had 24 points. So, you know, we have seen Dillon Brooks do a pretty decent job. He's gone on the under in 3 out of those 5 games, which is interesting to see. So, you know, significantly on the under, and on top of that has more likely gone on the under as well. So we definitely see that being a big case coming into this game. Although many people may not or dislike Dillon Brooks, you got to admit that, you know, when it comes to props like these, you got to find the most value, and in this one with Dillon Brooks, I find the most value in for sure. Now, on top of that, when you look at what the bookies are saying, bookies also have him favored for the under as well, so that works out in our favor there. So with all those things being said, Dillon Brooks for actually, you know, 12.5 points for less, I think is a great pick. So as you all know, I do want to get these picks out to you as soon as possible, but Prizepicks is delayed with some of their lines. So here are a couple of players you should definitely watch out for when their lines drop. So the first player we're going to be talking about is none other than Cavon Looney. So as you all know, Cavon Looney, great player, as we all know, from the Golden State Warriors. Now, he has had an interesting regular season because he had only averaged 4.5 points, 6.1 rebounds, 1.6 assists, while also shooting 51.4% from the field. Now, when it comes to Cavon Looney, he is a great player. He ranked 150th plus in points, 45th in rebounds, and 150th plus in assists. Now, it definitely has been an interesting time for Cavon Looney due to the fact that when we actually look at Looney, it is an interesting sort of matchup against Houston because some games he gets a good amount of minutes and other games he doesn't. So it's definitely been up in the air when it comes to, you know, where his minutes will actually land. But coming into this next one, we are actually expecting Looney to get a little bit more usage rate out there and a lot more minutes due to the fact that Sengun has actually done a great job. We are expecting them to bring out Looney or even Quinton Post to play a bit more defense, especially of a bigger, you know, size. So, you know, we definitely see that being a big thing. Now, looking at Looney, we actually have seen, you know, him do a pretty good job during this series. Now, they do face off against Rockets, as we all know. Now, you know, just to quickly reiterate, as we always say, you know, there is only one game today, but just a quick reiteration, Rockets and Warriors, you know, Warriors are currently up 3-2 in the series. So it's definitely been an exciting series so far. Now, when we actually look at, Houston Rockets defensively, just, saying it again, once again, guys, Houston Rockets do rank 6th in points allowed. They rank 2nd in assists allowed. And then when it comes to rebounds allowed, we actually did see them rank 4th. Now, when it comes to Looney, we do very much like the under for this situation here. Now, a big reason being is that when it comes to Looney, his usage rate is definitely a bit unpredictable in a sense that, if Kerr does not see it working out there with Looney out there, we tend to see him get taken off early. So we are kind of playing that to our advantage, which is why we do like the under for this situation here. Even the times that we have seen Looney out there on the floor, what we have also noticed is that, he hasn't really been that big of an asset on offense due to the fact that players like Jimmy Butler, like Steph Curry, Brandon Podziemski, the list really does go on and on. You can tell Looney really does just, let them do the scoring, and he just does his role, which is, defending the big man usually. Now, rebounds are also a little bit interesting due to the fact that there are a lot of big rebounders in this Warriors team, whether it's Draymond, Jimmy Butler, even Steph is starting to grab a few rebounds. So there's definitely a lot of players out there that have been able to really get going. So Looney is really just out there to defend Şengün and to try his best against him, and that's pretty much his role out there. But stats-wise, we should actually see him go on the under, in this situation. Now, looking at the 5 games that they have played, we saw in game 1 he had 0 points, 1 rebound, 0 assists in 9 minutes of play. Then game 2 did a little bit better, had 5 points, 4 rebounds, 3 assists in actually only 13 minutes of play. Moving on from that, had 2 points, 5 rebounds, and 14 minutes, and also 0 assists there. Game 4 had 0 points, 1 rebound, 0 assists in 5 minutes, and then also had 2 points, 3 rebounds, and 0 assists in game 5. So it's definitely been an interesting time for Cavon Looney and also against the Golden State Warriors. We definitely have seen Looney do pretty well. However, definitely not enough when it comes to stats wise. Looney doesn't really average that much stats, and it's definitely very, very evident as we have seen. So we should see a similar situation coming into this next one, no doubt about it. So I definitely would keep an eye out for Looney. We definitely see a lot of value to go on the under. Now, there really isn't one to focus on. I think points, rebounds, and assists, he definitely has a capability to go on the under in either one of them. So that's why, we are still sticking to the under for this situation here. So, Cavon Looney, keep an eye out for his line. If it is too close to his averages, then definitely look to go on the under. Now, getting into the next player, we're going to be talking about Fred VanVleet. So as you all know, Fred VanVleet, great player. As we all know, he's done a fantastic job so far, this season. And we actually saw during the regular season him average 14.1 points, 3.7 rebounds, 5.6 assists, while also shooting 37.8% from the field. So he's done a great job there. Now, when we actually look at Fred VanVleet, we do see ranked 70th in points, 131st in rebounds, and then 28th in assists. Now, when we actually see this, we do see, Fred VanVleet not only just do a great job, but his usage rate has actually remained high during these playoffs. Obviously, playoffs are a big time for, teams to be a little bit more unexpected when it comes to it, but we definitely have seen it pay off, no doubt about it. So, looking at it, we actually do see, we have actually seen that Warriors and Rockets, as we all know, Rockets did absolutely had a massive beatdown in the sense that they absolutely smoked the Warriors in the most recent game. They did actually catch up just a little bit, but definitely not enough. We still do very much, like this situation here, because it can definitely go to game 7. It's definitely in the eyes of there. So looking at Fred VanVleet against the Warriors, we do know, like we mentioned before, Warriors do rank 8th in points allowed, assists allowed. They also do rank 10th, and then rebounds allowed, we also see them rank 15th. So mid to high tier in all 3 categories. Now when it comes to someone like Fred VanVleet, we do very much like the over actually for this situation here, but strictly just for points. And a big reason being is that when it comes to Houston Rockets, they do run Fred VanVleet in the point guard position. And what we actually do see is that Golden State Warriors actually do a very poor job at restricting points to the point guard position. So we definitely see someone like Fred VanVleet going on the over in this one. There are obviously a lot of big scorers for this Rockets team. As we all know, Şengün is one of them. Also, players like Thompson has definitely been a great scorer. Dylan Brooks has also scored quite a bit. And it actually does leave a lot more opportunity for Fred VanVleet to kind of get it going. And that's what we are expecting in this next matchup. So, for that reason, we do very, very much like the over for this situation like this one. We do very much see that Fred VanVleet has also provided that in the most recent games. Now, looking at his most recent games, we did see, Golden State Warriors did actually play them in game 1, and then he actually had 10 points, 7 assists, and 1 rebound in that matchup. Then moving on into game 2, we actually saw him have 7 points there, and also 2 assists and 6 rebounds. Then game 3 is where we really started to see him get going, as he had 17 points, also had 3 assists, and then 4 rebounds there. After that, had 25 points in game 4, 6 assists and 2 rebounds, but actually had the loss in that matchup. And then on top of that, we also did see 26 points, 2 assists, 1 rebound in game 5 for Fred VanVleet. So it's definitely been a very, very interesting time for them. He has done a fantastic job, no doubt about it. And when we actually look at this next matchup, we should see a similar sort of outcome. Although there will probably make adjustments, we have seen just Fred VanVleet have a good usage rate. The first 2 games, he didn't really score as much, but, we definitely did see him have a little bit of a cold streak in those 2. But once he starts to get it going, they definitely do leave him a lot of space to be able to get some points on the board, and we should see him be able to beat his line, which is only 14 points. So for someone like Fred VanVleet who can score at will, we should see him be able to go on the over here, no doubt about it. So definitely keep an eye out for Fred VanVleet. Like I mentioned, I would focus a little bit more on points than the others. I think rebounds and assists, there is a capability there, but you will probably have to start looking in and diving a little bit more deeper into it, due to the fact that, Warriors actually do a decent job at restricting rebounds and assists. They rank a little bit mid-tier, restricting that to the point guard, but we definitely see more points as being kind of the safe haven for us. So because of that, we do very much like the over for this situation for someone, like Fred VanVleet. But like I mentioned, I would strictly probably just focus in a little bit more on points than any other category there. So, for that reason, definitely keep an eye out for the over for this one there. Now, getting into the next player, we're going to be talking about Draymond Green. Draymond Green is an interesting one. We all know what Draymond Green can do. Now, when it comes to actually Draymond, what we have also seen throughout the regular season is that he has actually averaged 9 points, 6.1 rebounds, 5.6 assists, and also 42.4% from the field, which is great to see. Now, he did rank 150th plus in points, also ranked 44th in rebounds, and then we also had him ranked 25th in assists. Now, when we look at that, we do see him, get a good amount of stats, in all 3 categories. Now, coming into this matchup, obviously he has done a great job against the Rockets, as the Warriors are up 3-2. Now, not meaning to repeat it again, but just as a refresher, as we always do, Houston, they do rank 6th in points allowed. Also, when it came to assists allowed, ranked 2nd, and then rebounds allowed, ranked 4th. Now, when we look at Draymond Green, however, we do very much actually like the under for this situation here. However, strictly just for points. And the reason being is that when it comes to Draymond Green, his assist and rebounding usage rate has definitely been a little bit more unpredictable, but his points have remained pretty low, most of this series. And a big reason for that is that Houston Rockets really try to do and restrict him from points as much as they can. Rockets have done this throughout the whole season. They do a great job at actually restricting points to the power forward position. So we definitely see someone like Draymond Green suffering from this. Now, when we look at Houston's defense, it's definitely been very interesting, as they do change kind of the way they like to run defense as well. But as Draymond isn't really too big of a scorer, we should see him a little bit focusing on other players, trying to get players like Jimmy Butler open, trying to get players like Steph open, and we definitely see that playing a huge part coming into this game. Now, looking at Draymond Green over the last 5 games so far this series, we saw in game 1 he had 4 points, 6 rebounds, 3 assists, and they won 95-85 there. Then they took a loss in game 2, but he had 8 points, 5 rebounds, 1 assist there. Then game 3 won 104-93 and finished the game with 7 points, 4 assists, and also 8 rebounds. Then had 6 points, 2 assists, 8 rebounds with a 109-106 win in Game 4. And then 7 points, 1 assist, 1 rebound in Game 5, which I thought was absolutely fantastic from them. So they've actually done a great job there. Now, when we actually look at, someone like Draymond Green, he doesn't really have that high of a usage rate, as you definitely see from his points category. It hasn't really done too well. He does average 9 points, but he's actually gone on the under in the points category in all 5 games, and we should see a similar situation here. Draymond likes to find Steph, he likes to find Jimmy, so for that reason we should a little bit more focusing on them to get the points, and Draymond will probably stick to the rebounding and assisting out there on the floor. So for that reason, we do very much like the under for the point situation here. When it comes to rebounds and assists, it does get a little bit more tricky, as he does have a pretty decent usage rate in that. So focus in on the points, look out for the line. If the line is too close to his averages, then definitely look to go on the under.